Hey, Cameron. Let's see. Hi. Aw, welcome. Hi, honey. Can you hear me? Let me. There. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, Cher.
Hi. Thanks for joining.
I just messaged you because I was like, wait, maybe I have dinner done quickly enough that I can do this,
Yay. Oh, I'm so happy. I
right?
know it's hard to find a time, as you know, with like the yoga and
Every-
scheduling, and even when we're all stuck at home, it's hard to find time.
I
So,
know. Well, because now our schedules are so messed up. It's
yeah.
uh I
Kai
know.
went to
I've
bed.
never not worked out more. And every morning I wake up and I'm certain I'm like, today's the day. I'm gonna figure out a schedule.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting to find out what our real schedule is. Like I'm a night owl. If I didn't have to get up and go to work, I would stay up all night and then,
I know.
sleep in. Daryl's not though. He's got the he wakes up at 5 o'clock every morning still. It's crazy. And then Kai, he goes to bed at like 3 in the morning and wakes up at noon. So we're all
Yeah, well, right. He's what, 21 or 20 or something
big
like that.
feet. Yeah.
I know.
Um,
That day's gonna come.
see, there's some people coming in. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. Just wanting to go to your screen. Hi, Lenore.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, you made it. Yay. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for having this.
I felt so bad from last week when you couldn't
That's
join.
okay. Figuring it all out. This whole Zoom thing's a new thing, right?
Yeah, we're figuring it out. I'm just admitting a few folks here as they're coming in. Hey, AJ. See. Oh, and all right, Margaret's here. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. My neighbor. Hi, Margaret. You made it. I'm so excited. Can
Hey
you
Sharon,
hey.
how
Sweet.
are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Did you drive up and see all that snow that was
I'm telling
covering?
you, it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Oops.
All right,
Oops,
let
lost.
me get my. Where is my?
Hi, Sandra. Welcome. All right. So before I start talking about the things, we'll just I think there's maybe one or two more people coming.
Okay.
Well, thank you all for being open and receptive. I really appreciate it. Um, I will say that last week I did a meditation with fire, and I kept saying I wanted to say something about fire, and it kept escaping me what it was I wanted to say. And the thing that I wanted to say about fire was that it's an element that gets you out of your mind and your head, and that it kind of can burn away your thoughts and get us out of our egos a little bit. And I just thought it was funny that that was the thing. There's something I wanted to say, but I can't remember. And that was really just it, just that simple. That fire has a way of bringing us back down to our hearts.
Ah, okay. Hadn't thought of it that way, but that's good.
Yeah, so I am going to share some things, and I just want to say too that in my yoga training, it's really kind of the idea is that truth is one and paths are many. So I honor and respect each and everyone's connection to the divine and how they interact with the divine. And I think that for some of us, it can be a little bit new and a different way to think about interacting with God through the actual elements. But to me, it makes sense that, that the creation that we're walking on and interacting with every day, that if we can find a way to interact with it daily, we really are interacting with creation and God. And, so you can put, if I say creator or, Holy Spirit or any of those things, you can use your own word. It's interchangeable because we all have our own belief systems, and so I just wanted to say that much too. I'm gonna give 1 minute here for to see who's coming, and then also you can have your face on the screen, and then if you want to hide it at any time, you can. I'm gonna usually I take prayer requests because there's a lot going on, and then you can have your face showing, or you can hide it if you're more comfortable. It's just nice to kind of see everybody as they're checking in and
Yep.
people's faces. Hi, faces. Your little beautiful faces there. Oh, we got one more here. Hi, Claudia. Let's see. Give her a second. So it's so great because I was saying that this whole Zoom thing, that I've been really skeptical about finding a deep connection, like on technology. It feels a little bit, I think I had preconceived notions that it would feel shallow or something, but I honestly don't feel that way. I mean, we're all in circle and we're all energy. And so, just being present to one another, it kind of works for me. I mean, I feel like it's a nice way to connect and see one another. And my friend Jenna, who is like one of my oldest friends from high school, her mother is joining us from Costa Rica, which is really exciting.
I'm sorry, I forgot about the time difference. I'm like, hideous.
I seriously doubt that.
Love me anyway.
Well, like I said, and that's the other cool thing, is that you can hide your face if you want. So it's not.
Oh, well, you've seen it now.
I do webinar, this Earth Medicine School that I've taken with Pixie Lighthorse, I've talked about. I kind of refer to her as a teacher. So many times I've hidden my face, and I'm like sleeping or eating, and so whatever your experience of how you want to interact is also fine. I think Jenna was going to join.
Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't talked to her.
And if you don't have a glass of water or like a tea or just any kind of thing to drink, and you want to grab something.
Oh, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go get water. I'll be right back.
Okay. And then we'll get going here in just 1 second. I have Hummingbird on my altar. This is a gift from Sandra. Hummingbird is really just a joy. Like whenever I see hummingbirds, they just make me happy. And I mean, they quarrel a lot, and they're actually very territorial, but they're just this little like boundless, energy, just buzzing with joy. And so I put a lot of hummingbird on my altar to kind of help us bring that in right now, because I know these are kind of heavy times. This is my little hummingbird fan that I made out of my neighbor's
Wow, that is beautiful.
hummingbird. And so yeah,
Wow.
nail. So all right, well, it's 8:04. I'll just go ahead and start talking, and if anybody else joins, then I'll invite them to come in. So the air element. So all of these meditations are dealing with different elements. I've kind of talked a little bit about that, and we used air to ground, and water to kind of get our emotions flowing, and get fire to kind of inspire us. And air is the element of air and the chakras is connected to our heart. And if you think about your heart is on the same meridian as your arms, all of our caretaking, all of our nurturing, our cooking, our hugs, our love making, everything that we do comes out of our heart center and through our arms, everything that we create. However, breath and air is not something that's usually very honored. And I think it's very interesting that the coronavirus is specifically hitting people's lungs.
Yeah.
And Feng Shui, air is not even recognized as an element. It's like fire, earth, wood, metal, and water. So, even if you think about in your own life, when you're walking around and like, oh, the ground feels so good under my feet, or it's very easy to be inspired by a waterfall or river, and fire, of course, is beautiful, but we don't really think like, oh, the air is so nice, and give our gratitude to that. And it's something that I know I personally take for granted sometimes. When I do think about it, as far as an offering, I like to sing. Margaret, you may have heard me singing. I don't know. My neighbor, I sing really loud if the air feels good and there's a nice breeze.
Oh, I'll pay more attention. I have to sing.
If you never have really considered working with making offerings to the elements, I recommend it as just something to try. Lavender, I don't know what, we're all stuck at home and we don't have access to all of these things, but like I said, you could just even sing. Lavender is something I recommend for everybody because it's very gentle. And what I mean by making an offering is if you just have a prayer, or somebody's not doing well, or you're thinking about a loved one, and take a little offering lavender or whatever it is, and then just put it on the earth and ask the mother earth and God, and however again that you interact, to help, and to just think about that person. I pray with tobacco, which is a very strong plant, and I've on and off smoked socially for, I don't know, forever, since I was a teenager. And I've really tried to stop doing that and use it in a positive way. And doesn't mean you have to smoke. I mean, I do have a pipe that I pray with, but you don't have to smoke it. You can just use it, hold it. For Native Americans, they believe that it sprouted out of the forehead of Mother Earth as a way to, for her to really take pity and give them a form of communication so that they could pray with it and commune with her and God. So that's how it's used in my church. And the first time I set up a Native American church, they pray with these beautiful fans. And raptors, of course, are illegal to own, but in my church we use them as kind of like spiritual antennas to get the attention of the divine. And so the very first time I was taught to use tobacco to pray with, I wanted one of those fans because they're really beautiful. And my uncle, who's Lenape, said, oh, just put some tobacco down and make a prayer. And so I did that. And then I think it was like 2 days later, I was out in our garden, and our garden used to be fenced in. Somehow, it was totally fenced in. A red-tailed hawk had flown in there, and it was like trying to get out, and it went up against one of the walls, and you could see it. One of the tail feathers of it was missing, and I had to call Daryl, and I was freaking out. I didn't know what to do, and of course, I wasn't gonna like kill this beautiful being and take its tail feathers. So we just let it go, and I was like, well, that's funny, because he said I should put the tobacco down, and then this red tail showed up, and I mean, I had to let it go. And so I just was like, I guess that's, maybe I didn't do something right, or I don't know. But anyway, maybe 2 or 3 days after that, I found another hawk that had been hit, and it was a rough-legged hawk. And those come down from like Canada, and they come here just like in the northern parts of the States. And so I was going to use my fan that I found. I had it turned into to a prayer tool, and the man that made it, his name is he's Navajo, Patrick Scott. I sent the feathers to him. He's Native American. And he said, well, he didn't know me. And so we just talked on the phone, and he's like, well, what do you like? And, just trying to get a feel of how to make the fan. And I was like, well, I really just want to trust you, and whatever your vision is, just go with that. So this is the fan that I sent him the feathers, and I don't know if you can see it, but they're, all of these are hummingbirds, and they're made with, feathers, the different colors. Those are all feathers. So again, more hummingbird medicine on the altar to help us out today. So I wanted to see if anybody had any prayer requests. I know I have somebody's name that I'd like to share. You can type it, or if you can raise your hand, and if not, I'll just go ahead and pray. I just wanted to see. Oh, Claudia, yeah. Do you
Pray
mind?
for me. Yeah,
Okay.
can we pray for me, because the rainy season is just starting here in Costa Rica,
Okay.
and this is my 4th rainy season, and I really have trouble with bronchitis from it. So I would really like to skip that this year.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, just I want to write that down. Okay. Anybody else?
I don't know how to raise my hand, but I don't see the little thing on my.
Oh, okay. We can hear you, Lenore.
Okay. Well, I'm a caregiver for 94-year-old couple, and my friend is their daughter who lives with them, and she's the OT at a nursing home, and they were doing really good, but now they have some cases. So I just we're really, really keeping them safe and doing really well, but it is a little more threatening now that she's in an environment where the virus is.
Yeah.
And
What
she
is
comes
her
home
name?
and visits them. The parents are Anne and Ken, and they're a beautiful couple, and I just want them to stay safe. So
Yeah.
they're in my heart, and I want to pray for them, and for my friend Marion, that she stays safe as well.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. Okay, so if you have a drink, water or tea or something, so each time, I've had people smudge. If you have, well, first we can smudge. So if you have a sage or Palo Santo or anything, and you want to burn it on your own, you can. I'm gonna burn this for all of us. This is sweetgrass from my garden. They say that the helping spirits like the scent of these, and they come to our aid. And so that's my intention behind this. I grow this in my garden. And then if you have a drink of water or something, so how I understand prayer and how I've been taught is that there's really no really right or wrong way, but second, that the divine God, again, however you connect to that great mystery, knows what's in our hearts and what's in our minds. And for some of us, it's hard to get that from our mind out through our mouth. Even for me, just to pray with you guys, it's not like, it's vulnerable, and it's not something that I just do all the time. But it is something that I think that in this time, especially what we're all going through, is a muscle that we could all be using. You could call it meditation, you could call it prayer. So holding liquid or water or a drink, your creator knows what is in your mind and your heart again. So as I pray, you can hold your intentions for your own prayers into your cup. If you even want to stir them in there, like have a little stir. You don't have to have all this stuff. It's just, and I'm going to actually mute you guys in just a second in case you want to stir, but just hold your liquid or your drink, and then you can even like blow on it and put the things that we can't always say. We don't always have access to our thoughts, but the divine knows what's inside of us. So it's just a way to kind of put our intentions into something and make it more tangible. Okay, so I'll just say a little prayer real quick. So I wanted to pray to the Holy Creation, the Holy Spirit, that Mother Earth, God. Usually when I come and pray, I keep it very simple, and I use the words "thank you," and sometimes that's enough. That's enough. But right now, I feel like I want to add to that, and I want to say I'm sorry. I want to say I'm sorry for, on behalf of myself, on behalf of humanity, for the times that we've been unaware and disrespected our planet in a way that's not beneficial for our own hearts and our own lungs and our own survival. And, there's death is actually in the room. There are people dying, and it's very serious. And my prayers have been this whole time that each and every one of us can discover our own passions and joys and better ourselves so that we can be in service to the world and to one another, and to find our joys, that find a way to be kind and caring. And it's so hard because we live in this society that we're not encouraged to cry, we're not encouraged to feel, and I'm really sorry for that. I want to be in a world where it's okay if somebody gets hurt to just stop what we're doing and acknowledge that, and be able to talk about it and be able to share our pains and our sufferings and our joys in equal measure. And I want to bring Fabrizio, my husband's oldest friend. Her husband has been in the hospital for over a month, and he turns 50 this week, and he's going to be alone in the hospital, and praying for him that he gets better and that he gets to get home to his wife and his son. And the elders that Lenore mentioned, that that they're okay, and all the caretakers and all the elderly in these homes, that I can't imagine the fear that they may be going through. And already we kind of hide them away, and our culture isn't always the most respectful of our elders. And I'm really, really praying that we can wake up and figure out how to respect them more and learn from them. And also for Claudia, thank you so much for being here, and really hope that in your own meditation and your own connection to your health, that in this rainy season that's coming, that the earth is healing right now, that we all can heal a little bit deeper into her energy. All of us, from our heads down to our toes, the things that might be ailing us, that we get some healing through taking care of ourselves and finding a way to kind of look out for one another. It's so beautiful, where you are and where each and every one of us are. There's beauty to be found. And I just hope that, through these little meditations, maybe each and every one of us can slow down a little bit, feel the earth underneath our feet, feel the wind, feel the beauty that God has given us that we take for granted all the time. Thank you, Creator. Thank you so much for the beauty and the life that each one of us has. I hope. Okay, so thank you. If you want to drink from your drink, and you can do that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Native American medicine wheel. So there's many different tribes, right? The Native America. And so there's never one way to do anything. And some medicine wheels, and what that means, medicine wheel, you can look it up. And I actually have one. It's a structure using stones, and the stones were placed in a way that represents the different directions. And it's something that we interact with. So the stones like representing the east, south, west, and north. So in some Native American medicine wheels, the east represents air. So air, fire in the south, water in the west, and then earth in the north. But the way I interact with mine, because I think of east being new beginnings, springtime, that we're in the east right now, but it's more of a, I kind of meditate with the earth more at this time because it's becoming alive. And then in the summer, fire, and then the fall, water, and then north, that's when all the leaves have fallen, and you see raptors. I see eagles and hawks, especially in the wintertime. So I kind of think of the north as being more of an air element. And air has to do with our thought processes and you know, our breath and our heart and our lungs. So before I wanted to lead you all into meditation. I wanted to do a little thing. So if you have enough space, again, if you want to hide your face, if you're, you know, if that's more comfortable, you can. If not, so it's really a Tai Chi thing. But so you're gonna just stretch your arms out, and then really stretch them far back. Open up your heart. And then slowly bring your hands together, and you're going to bring them together slow enough that as they get a little bit closer, you're going to start to maybe feel the fingers tingle and feel like a ball of energy in between the hands. And you're not going to touch your fingers all the way. And you're going to open them up and do that a couple times. And you can find your own rhythm if you want to take your time and do it slow or kind of speed it up. But each time, bring the hands, the fingers aren't going to touch. I'm going to open up a little bit more. And then go ahead and hug the arms and really squeeze. Just give yourself a little hug. We haven't really been touching our loved ones, so you can hug yourselves. And then hug, do one more time, and then switch the arms. And then you can just tap your heart a little bit, and just the lungs and the heart, just to kind of get the blood flowing in those areas. And this actually has scientific, like they do this in Kundalini yoga, and it's a whole thing. You can look up tapping. I'd only heard of it recently, but it also has benefits of kind of getting the system going. So I did want to say that I'm not. It's hard, you can stop tapping if you want, but I don't really study astrology that much. It's something that interests me, but I don't know enough about it to speak to it. But I have been hearing a lot of different things, and it seems to be that things are bigger things are happening right now with the planets than. You know, they say that we're in the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and Aquarius is an air element. And, you know, if you think about that song, it's having an understanding, you know, it's all of that. It's all of that. It's like we're actually being asked to find ways to think about how to come together and work together in innovative ways that help one another and work together, not as against what's in our best interest. And that's actually planetarily what's happening. But before that, like we're just on the dawn of that. So there's something about Jupiter and Pluto, and I recently heard that the way they're situated was translated as big death. So we really are in this time of renewal and rebirth. Even the earth itself in the winter time has to kind of die before it can come back. And so the further we can really go in, look at ourselves, think about our lives, think about the things that are working, think about the things that nurture us, give ourselves the self-care that we need, take stock of the things that we have and find gratitude. When all of this is over, I don't know that I necessarily want to go back to exactly living the same way that we were, and in this rushed kind of pace of do and act, like I'm realizing that I really enjoy taking some time to be with my family and slow down a little bit. And so I really hope to, find these little exercises and things that will become habits, so that going forward out of this, when we start to interact again, that we will have created better habits for ourselves. And, okay, so I think what I wanted to do, I just wanted to also mention Isis. I know that I've each one of these, we spoke about Jesus and Buddha and how we kind of are on our own, under our own Bodhi trees, or taking our kind of walk in the desert. We're being confronted with ourselves for sure. And some of us like what we see and are happy, and that's great, and then some of us might see some things like, oh, this, maybe this is a time for me to, stop smoking, or, doing this thing that's harming my health. So I mentioned usually different animals that we can look to that have medicines or ways of being that can inspire us. And so Isis is a very revered goddess in Egypt, and her wings, she's got these big beautiful wings, and she's revered because she survived an immense suffering of her brother-in-law basically being jealous of Osiris, her husband, and killing him. And she's the one that she grew these wings so she could soar above the earth and find her husband's body parts, so that she could honor him correctly through his death. Because I forget the set. I think the brother-in-law was so jealous. Not only did he kill his brother, he tore his body apart and put the pieces all over. So Isis is she's a survivor, and she found her husband and honored him the correct way, and then raised her son in hiding, and he became a great king. And so she was revered as somebody that could resurrect themselves. And so air element, how we do that, how we get back to our hearts, how we resurrect our own selves, is really the number one tool that I know of, is through our breath. And every day, if you can do one little thing and change your life, breathe in and breathe out and say thank you for a new day. If you forget to do that, because we want to get out of bed and get that coffee, hesitate right there, get some water, drink the water, and say thank you to the water. And I don't do that every morning. I still forget, but the mornings that I do, if I can just start the day with a little bit of gratitude to the air, to my breath, or to the water, it changes the way my day goes. So that's just a little recommendation there. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and lead you into the meditation now. So you can get comfortable, you can sit down, and you can have your feet, I'm gonna mute you guys. You can have your feet grounded and sitting, and a lot of people prefer that. or you can lay down and get cozy and get comfortable. I'm just going to give you all a second to get situated. So I wanted to say that, the journey to the heart can sometimes be one of the most challenging journeys that we have can ever really take. As I was saying, that some of us, I think, are afraid of, because there's so much suffering. There's so much suffering to be had on the earth, that we're afraid that if we feel into that, then we'll just be stuck kind of in grief, and nobody really wants that. But I think going into the heart and feeling and asking ourselves how we feel about things and really honoring our emotions is, and dealing with our sadnesses and really allowing ourselves to feel them, is actually a doorway into more joy. Because when we can feel the sufferings and the sadnesses, we can have empathy, and through empathy we can find other people and realize, like, oh, look, there's somebody that's going through something, and I've felt that way, and I want to help them. And through helping others, it almost always makes us feel better. So I just wanted to say that little thing. When I first started teaching Montessori, they say to the kids sometimes, put your tears in your pocket. And when I first heard that, I was like, oh my God, that's so mean. That's terrible. And I mean, that's even Montessori, which is a peaceful education. So here I just allow you to feel into your heart. You can, as you're now laying down and ready for your meditation, if you want to put your hands over your heart, you can. We're going to use that tool I was mentioning of going inward through using the inhalation and the exhalation of the breath. In Hindu, Vasu is the god of air, or the God's supreme breath. So inhaling Vasu, inhaling that supreme being, the Holy Spirit, really into our bodies, and allowing that to intermingle with our hearts. Exhaling any bit of stress or stale air or anything not serving us. Inhaling, finding your body begin to weight a little bit and allow it to get a little bit heavier. Exhaling deeply. As you inhale, you can feel the abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest expanding. As you exhale, hugging it all in towards the heart and towards the rib cage and towards the spine. And then you're going to allow the breath to fall into its normal rhythm or cadence. And then we're going to use our imagination, and really the strength of our imagination is a tool, a muscle that we all should be strengthening right now, because we want to be able to imagine a better world that I was talking about, the world that we really want to have right now on this planet. And so be open to the idea that going into these meditations is a way to strengthen that muscle. And as we use our imagination, we're going to really go inward, deeply inward into our minds and our hearts and our thoughts. We're going to find ourselves standing in front of a really beautiful, magnificent tree, the tree of life. And as we're standing in front of the tree, we're going to put our hands on these massive roots and just feel the vibration of life coming off of these roots. And if we were to be able to follow the roots, we would know that the roots of this massive tree of life go all the way deep, deep, deep down into the earth, as a reminder for ourselves to stay connected to life and the power that brings up the flowers and the trees, It's all through the roots connecting down. And so that alone has already allowed you to feel peaceful and reassured and calm and protected. But as you begin to look up from the roots towards the tree, the most beautiful, magnificent tree your imagination can foster, you can look up and you can't even see the ending of the tree's branches. It goes all the way into the heavens. Too massive, really, for you to climb on your own. And so you just stand there, as I mentioned, Buddha under the Bodhi tree, and you're just taking in the energy and feeling this tree healing your lungs, lending you oxygen, breathing so deeply into your lungs that the oxygen is going through each and every inch and corner of your lungs to heal them, filling them with light so that they can last for the rest of our lives in a really good way and aid us in our breathing and our ability to breathe deeply, be part of Vasu. So standing there and, you can interact with this tree of life in a way that feels good. But suddenly you feel a pair of mother wings wrapping around you. You can feel the soft downy of a massive, it can be really any bird that you call to mind, a hawk, an eagle, something that flies. And this bird is going to take you in its wings and bring you to the top of the tree of life, to the top of the branches. And on those branches, as you're resting, this bird carefully lays you down on the branches. You have this new perspective because you're so high up, you can see above the earth. You can see all of it in its entire beauty, the oceans, the mountains. You're just reminded of the beauty of the world and how magnificent it is. And in the tree of life, on the top, you can see all the different types of animals living within the tree, from the big cats to the snakes and the different kinds of birds, and start sensing the many, many different colors of life that are represented. You might be able to smell the beautiful flowers fruiting off of this tree, listening to the beautiful sounds. And then you feel like you want to get a little bit higher still, and so the mother bird comes back and takes you in her arms and her wings again and flies you up even further into the heavens. In the heavens, you're welcomed by your ancestors, and they're there and they've been with you all along, and they're so happy to see you. So happy to see you that they give you a loving embrace and they take you into their arms, and you know immediately that they're walking alongside you in your real life, your real day-to-day life, that they're always there looking over you and loving you and wanting the best for you all the time. And that how we communicate to the earth and when we make those offerings to the water, when we sing to the wind, that we're really making those offerings to them as well. And so you can just take a moment to be with them and feel them rejoice in feeling their love and their hugs and their unconditional love for you. staying with your ancestors and your loved ones, you tell them how much you love them, give them your gratitude. And then something is sort of calling you back in your meditation, and you can see your own self lying there on the earth, and using your Hawkeye vision, you see yourself and you feel the love and self-love and compassion that you have to return into your own body and to really fulfill your life. And so the hummingbirds come to retrieve you, to bring you back to your body. They carry you all the way back and replace you gently so that you fit perfectly back into your body. And then the hummingbird is like a jewel, beautiful, powerful jewel, beautiful medicine of joy. And it asks you if it can work on your heart and your lungs. And so you accept it into your heart and into your lungs. And this little tiny bit of medicine, this little joy of love can go into your heart, in through your mind and your brain, communing to your heart and lungs, and actually going physically into your heart. If there's any kind of blockages there, whether they are literal blockages or metaphorical, emotional, this hummingbird is doing its sacred work into your sacred heart and allowing for those blockages to be cleared so that the blood is flowing freely into your heart and out of your heart into the rest of your body, reaching throughout your body to cleanse and purify it. The hummingbird also takes some of its medicine to place it into your lungs so that as you're inhaling and exhaling, you can feel the healing that's happening. So that when you inhale and exhale, the breath can enter all the way into the outreaches, all the way into the upper, lower, mid lungs, and really reach into that organ that really rests over your heart. And so Creator put our heart and our lungs next to each other because they are connected. Our breath is directly connected to the way we feel and our emotions. And so in times such as these, or any times, we don't really have access to fight or flight right now. There's nothing really to fight, and there's nowhere to flee. So all we have is our own medicines and our own prayers and our own meditations. And so we can use our breath. So using our breath now, inhaling the love into the heart, inhaling the hummingbird medicine into the lungs and the heart. So much that as you exhale, you're exhaling out the love as well. Inhaling and exhaling and being okay with feeling joy, letting go of any bit of guilt or sadness for just a moment for others, and allowing yourself to feel the self-love that you deserve. Allowing that hummingbird to bring you joy and having it unattached to anything else but yourself. Being okay with knowing and accepting that when we have joy and happiness in our lives, we're bringing that joy into other people's lives as well. So it's okay to be happy right now. Allow yourself that. Staying in the heart a little bit longer. Staying in the lungs. Just going to drum for a minute or two. again, just taking a moment to be in the meditation, feeling gratitude for that very literal organ that is keeping you alive, keeping you connected. From the very first moment that you came into this world and inhaled oxygen into your lungs as a baby, you have been connected to air and the breath and the divine Basu, breath of life, till this moment, until the day that you die. And so in the Hindu beliefs they believe that we're given attached a number of breaths as we're when we're born. So the idea behind that is that we like to breathe slowly, consciously, with awareness, so that our life expands. So taking a moment to really feel into the lungs and be grateful for their job. Thinking about how those lungs protecting your heart are very much like that tree of life. In the heart and the little capillaries and the veins and the aorta and just the whole sort of system there, that it's very much, coming off of the spine, very much like the tree of life itself. And so during these times, you can find your way back into your heart, remembering that gratitude, remembering the feeling of love for your life and yourself, and your ability to breathe, into your heart, and then your heart expanding out through your arms, and your ability to bring creation through that into your world, whether it be art or cooking, again, love making, all of those wonderful things that are connected through our hearts, out through our arms, into our hands, having a moment of gratitude again for those things. And then we're going to begin to deepen the breath. Inhaling fresh prana, fresh energy, fresh life force into you. All of those things that are not serving you, whether it's bronchitis or I have some lower back pain, ears, I know there's some tinnitus in the circle. All those things that are not serving you, we're going to exhale those out of our system. Ask the winds of change, the air element, to kind of pick up those things and take them into some transformational realm where, because they no longer serve us. They're not allowing for us, no matter what our situation or why we have these ailments, let's take the teaching that they gave us and be done with them, and just try to exhale them out, put them down, and stop carrying them around, and lighten our loads a little bit here. Inhaling again, fresh chi, the love of mother. Exhaling. As you inhale, you're going to take that the hummingbird medicine, the universal vibration of love, into your heart. You can even imagine a little green jewel, and you can envision yourself actually placing it in your heart or in your lungs, or maybe wearing it as an imaginary amulet around your heart, protecting it. So even though we've gone into the heart and we've allowed all of these openings, know that your heart is protected. Know that you are the one that is in charge of deciding what boundaries you're comfortable with. Your heart can be open, your heart can be giving, and it can be empathetic and compassionate, and you're allowed to have boundaries. It's important to have boundaries around that heart, because the ones of us that are the givers to the point of bleeding ourselves dry. We can't serve people that way. So it's okay to acknowledge your own need for self-love and protection and boundary, while also honoring the sacred, tender heart that you have and the capability that it has. So that's not to suggest that you can't stay protected and honor your own boundaries. So inhaling again, and we're going to just have a minute or two of inhalation and exhalation of really thinking about the ones on the planet that have passed on or that are struggling. What I've heard about this virus is that you have to fight it. And, we really want to pray and think about those that are struggling right now. And maybe they feel like they don't have the will. So we're going to help them, breathe for them, inhaling, sending our Shanti, which means peace, not only in and out of our own lungs now, but into the lungs of the Mother Earth and through humanity, that this virus has, hopefully there's going to, potentially be some people that aren't going to learn anything. And we're going to have to be okay with that, maybe. I don't know, but maybe we can just breathe for the ones, really breathe and pray and send our love that this virus has done its job, that it's already awakened a lot of us into deeper understanding of things, so that we don't have to keep going, that we don't have to keep, losing our loved ones over this, that we can send the virus on its way. And we're going to breathe and inhale, fighting, sending that energetic will and support to even if they're strangers, the people on the planet that are really, really struggling to breathe right now, sending our love and sharing that. And as we do that, our own lungs and heart are getting stronger. You can feel it. You can feel your heart growing, caring that much for another human being that you don't even know right now. Your heart is growing. Inhaling and exhaling for those beautiful elders and all the ones that, that we lost too soon over this. And then finally, we're just going to take a nice deep inhalation, and then you can take the vibration of that universal love, take both your hands and kind of just cup them over your heart, knowing that that love resides within you. It's truly always accessible. It's always just right there. You can touch it. It's just there for you all the time. And then we're going to kind of feel our back into our bodies and back into the room. Feel, you can put your fingers, your thumb on your, touch your finger, your thumb to each finger, pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky. You can rotate wrists and ankles, or if you're laying down and you want to kind of hug the knees in and move them from side to side, you can try that. And just kind of coming back into the body, finding your will to present yourself into your own who you are. Maybe inhaling, exhaling one last little bit of gratitude for those beautiful organs. And then kind of, if you want to look around the room and just kind of incorporate yourself back into your body and your surroundings. And then, So I just wanted to say thank you all again for coming to these meditations. And that right now there's a lot of, this is also something I can't totally speak to because it's something very new for me, but plant medicines, there's plants right now that are growing right in our backyard that help our lungs and our heart. Colt's foot, I think, is something that's coming out right now. I have tons of garlic mustard, dandelions. So again, I can't talk to what specifically helps with what, but I do know that there are things that are coming out right now and will be just more and more through the mid to late spring. And it's something that if you're interested in, you can research, and it's very easy to kind of harvest these things and make teas with them. And there's so many plant allies to help those things specifically in our heart and our lungs. If you have specific heart troubles, rose quartz is a really beautiful, the pink crystal is a really beautiful healing stone to have around that helps with the heart. Just kind of like that idea of lavender. Rose quartz is one of those that's just sort of always sweet and gentle. Trying to think if there's anything else. And then this pranayama, the breathing, I can't recommend it enough. Just any kind of, there's so many different YouTube videos that can teach different breathing practices, but just remembering that morning, that first one, when you wake up, try that, tomorrow when you wake up, but maybe even write like a sticky note because you're not used to it. And just try that, just 5 inhalations and exhalations and some gratitude for a new day, because new day that the sun comes up is a new beginning and a new opportunity to be a better person. So thank you all. I'm going to just end it right there. I love you very much. Next Wednesday, I'm going to do a little meditation with, so the different chakras, there's 7 that I'm doing. And so we did earth, water, fire, air, and then the throat chakra deals with sound and communication, and then light, which is our divine connection, which that's going to be, I'm going to combine those 2. So there's 2 more from this sort of series. And again, I think I figured out how to record them now. So I think it's probably a little bit stronger to be live, but I can send you guys those links. All right. Love you all. Thank you.
Love
Thank
you.
you, Sherry. Thank you.
Will you
Share.
send reminders?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Wonderful. Send a reminder.
Okay. All right. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was wonderful.
Thank you, Sherry. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Love
Nice
you.
to meet you in Costa Rica. Hi.
I know. Aw.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
Nice
night.
seeing everybody. Oh, wait.